The pixelated image of a Gengar staring down a lively Nidorino is tethered to the childhood memories of millions. It is an image that is immediately recognizable, and it's likely just the impression of it conjures nostalgia in waves. These are, of course, the images of the iconic opening, would you even call it a cutscene, shot of Pokémon Red and Pokémon Green versions. The very first Pokémon games released 29 years ago this month. If you're sitting there slightly off kilter, thinking something is off, you'd be wise for two reasons. You could be asking, where's Jigglypuff? You would therein announce yourself to the group as a Pokémon Blue version aficionado. Congratulations. The other reason you may be wise for pulling back at this image is that this image you've been looking at so far in this video is in fact not the iconic opening of the original Pokémon game. These images are from the opening shot of episode 1 of the Pokémon anime. Indeed, this is the iconic intro from Pokémon Red and Pokémon Green versions. This is the opening shot of the Pokémon anime, and it is a masterstroke in homage and declaration that I think has gone widely underappreciated for far too long. The choice for the anime to recreate the opening of the games as its opening shot and the first thing an eager audience of pre-established Pokémon fans would see from their favorite game's TV anime adaptation serves two purposes. A homage and a testament to where it comes from, with a little added fan service, and a declarative statement of the potentiality of Pokémon in its new and, in its own opinion, more grand and exciting form. It is a look to what was, and a look towards what could be. A big part of the effectiveness here is how on point the recreation is. We get the turn-on Game Boy sound effect, we get the mimicking of the Game Boy aesthetic, the 8-bit visuals and the sound chip audio. The show lets you stew in Pokemon's defining reality up until this point, before the moment of transition, and before the limited world of Pokemon on the Game Boy comes to TV animated life. The transition is swift, gone are the muted colors, the limited animations, the 8-bit music. In comes the vibrant colors of television, the full animation, and the orchestrated version of the title theme, all occurring in the immediacy of Nidorino's ferocity as it leaps at its opposing Gengar. In this one transition, the power, the potentiality of the Pokemon anime is on full display. How it looks, how it sounds, how it moves. This is the visualized elevator pitch, the proof of concept, the we have arrived moment for the Pokemon anime, achieved through the comparison of what was and what will be. But this goes even a little further. Early video games were very much miracles of limitations, in terms of immersion. The technology and machines of the time could not depict lifelike environments or character models, so a lot of older games had to function literally on small scales, pertaining to in-game worlds and player representations. Because of this, a lot of immersion in games was derived from interpretation of what was literally on screen as a representation of something larger that is assumed to be there in the reality of the game world. This was very much the case in a lot of RPGs. Take, for example, now you're not going to see this one coming, Pokémon. More specifically, let's take, for example, the cities and towns spread across the Kanto region. If taken literally, Viridian City here isn't much of a city at all. It's a cluster of 5 buildings and maybe double the amount of people. However, in the world of the game, Viridian City is treated like a city, and therein it allows the inquisitive player to interpret these couple of buildings and their few inhabitants as representations of what is, in reality, the reality of the game world that is. A much larger, more realized city that can't be literally represented due to the limitations of the technology at the time, as well as the gamification of the in-game world. The same can be said for Pokemon battling. In the games, the Pokemon are little motionless sprites that wait around for you to give them an order through an attack menu. They do the move on the spot, then go back to being motionless, awaiting their next order. This is gamification. This is a turn-based RPG after all, but this can also be interpreted by the audience as representative of something much more dynamic that's really happening in the in-game world. This idea is what is realized also in the anime's opening pitch here. This is further proof of concept. The opening battle is a message that what you imagined was being represented by those sprites and their simple attacks was real, and will be represented truer in-world in the anime. Gengar and Nidorino don't stand still and motionless. Gengar jumps over Nidorino, bounces off of his head, and jumps off into the background to gain distance before getting off its hypnosis attack. Battles realized to this degree as action set pieces and back and forth fights weren't represented as literally in the games. And this taking what was representative and making it more real is perhaps the biggest strength and the biggest possible appeal of the Pokemon animated series. And the show communicates this terrifically in its opening scene, fully realizing the iconic opening shot of Pokemon Red and Green versions as its opening scene. Pokemon battles like this is what every Pokemon fan wanted to see, and it's the first thing you were shown in the Pokemon anime. It's a stroke of genius and a direct message, and you will appreciate it, damn it! P.S. The Pokemon anime is great. More videos coming soon.